it's not just that the variants have come in from UK. Similar variants could also be developing within the country. There is clear evidence that vaccines will continue to work on this variant as well. We have found 6 UK variants out of, as you said, 114 positive since November. But remember that the earliest samples positive for this variant in the UK itself was 20th and 21st of September. So, firstly, the variant would already be here. It's just that we've closed airports now, and you can't really prevent these things. The other point I would like to make is that it's not just that the variants have come in from UK. Similar variants could also be developing within the country. This has already happened in South Africa. A similar variant developed in South Africa, which is now spreading very quickly in South Africa. India, with 10 million plus infections, is going to be no exception. And we have to have a system so that we can quickly know as soon as possible
Right.
so that we can limit their spread. Yeah, well, I was a little surprised at the kind of attention this variant got. Many people don't realize that in late January, early February, another variant of the virus emerged, which was different from what came out of Wuhan. And this is something that we call the D614G. And today, D614G is the normal virus circulating around the world. There was no such panic at that time. The concern is that now that we have done so much on vaccines for a whole year, and there's a vaccine just around the corner, in fact, in some places, vaccines already rolled out, there is this concern that maybe a variant will make the vaccines ineffective and we will be back to the same situation. Well, I think all of these concerns are really misplaced because there is clear evidence that vaccines will continue to work on this variant as well. Yes, the variant is spreading faster, but there is no sort of evidence that it's causing more lethality. Having
Right.
said that, even though it's not causing more lethality, if a virus spreads more, if more people catch it, more people will become sick, more people will have more severe disease, and more people will die. Not in terms of percentages, but in terms of numbers. So, yes, on that front, there is concern for anything that spreads fast.
In this particular variant, there are certain set of mutations that are impacting the spike protein, which is why I guess there is more of a concern and more of a noise around it, where scientists are worried about how it will impact the vaccine. If you could explain to the viewer what these specific mutations are, and if at all they do impact the vaccine, how would they impact the vaccine?
Sure. This particular variant has 23 mutations compared to the Wuhan strain that originally came. 17 of these mutations are what we call non-synonymous mutations, and 6 are synonymous mutations. Non-synonymous mutations are those in which a mutation in the nucleic acid, the DNA or RNA, also leads to a change in the amino acid. And as you know, amino acids are the functional blocks of a protein. So the protein changes slightly when you have non-synonymous mutations. Now, out of the 17 non-synonymous mutations, 8 are in the spike protein. And as you know, spike protein is the target for the vaccine. Spike protein is also the one that is used by the virus to get into cells. Now, out of those 8 mutations in the spike protein, there are 2 that are critical. There is one mutation which is called a 501 mutation, which maps to the receptor binding domain, which is the domain that the virus uses to contact the host cell to enter the cell. And the second mutation is in a region which is called the loop region, or the S1, S2 loop region, which is a region that is required for entry. Now, the concern really is about the 501 mutation that it's in the receptor binding domain, against which neutralizing antibodies are directed. But experiments have actually been done in a lab in US, which have not been published yet, but it's out on Twitter actually, which show that if you take the serum from naturally infected people, people infected before this variant came by, that serum neutralizes the original virus and this variant equally well, which means that all vaccines being worked on today will work on this variant.
If there is a possibility that there is a vaccine escape, what happens then? Does it go the flu way, where you have different booster shots that you need to take every year? What happens in that kind of a scenario?
Right. So, firstly, vaccine escape mutants again in viruses are very normal and natural. But it doesn't happen so quickly. It happens when you have a tremendous amount of selection pressure coming from vaccines on viral populations. But mind you, they will emerge. The key thing is to keep the surveillance up even after you have started vaccinating people. In fact, I would say increase genomic surveillance more after vaccine is rolled out to catch the vaccine escape mutants early enough so that you can isolate those people and take preventive measures. But yeah, if that happens in a big way, then vaccines will have to be tweaked to accommodate the most prevalent variant circulating. But I would also say that vaccines don't just work through antibodies by neutralizing extracellular viruses. Vaccines also work through T cell immunity by killing virus infected cells. That is unlikely to change. So you may have a situation where even if there is a vaccine escape, those viral infected cells will be killed. So in a sense, what you will have is you will have infection, but you will not have disease. Almost 5,000 by now, but remember 5,000 out of over 10 million. So the density of our sequencing is only 0.05%. The WHO recommends that to catch variants statistically well in time, you should be sequencing one after every 300, which is at a rate of 0.3%. We are doing actually about 10 times lower than that. So we need to speed it up. I might also add that even those 4,900 plus sequences from India that are available are very skewed in terms of urban locations where these sequencing labs are located. So that's not, a representative national situation. Even today, you may see that the viruses have been reported from Bangalore, Hyderabad, and Pune. These are the locations from where the sequencing labs are located.
Right.
So we need to broad base it.
We are going to be entering 2021. There's a lot of pressure on 1st January because suddenly the world is supposed to be okay, which is not going to happen. So again, from your perspective and someone who is, a leader in your field, I wanted you to give a message to people saying, what are the precautions that they need to continue to take in 2021?
Well, I'll tell you what I will do and what I ask my family to do, and that is to wear a mask every time you go out of the house. Maintain some physical distance. Don't go to crowded places if you don't have to. So those things I will continue to do the rest of 2021.
Right.
Till WHO tells me that the pandemic is over.